Hello everyone. So today we are going to start the third chapter uh, of this book. So the third chapter is success. Let's begin. Superachiever don't waste time in unproductive thoughts, stoic thoughts, or catastrophic thoughts. They think constructively and they know that their level of thinking determines their success. You need to keep your mind on what you want, not on what you don't want. Success is not an accident, it is the result of your attitude, and your attitude is a choice. Hence, success is a matter of choice and not chance. A priest was driving when he saw an exceptionally beautiful farm. He stopped at the edge of a field, got out, and stood quietly appreciating the bountiful crop. The farmer was riding on his tractor and saw the price. He drove over to where the price was standing. The price said to him, God has blessed you with a beautiful farm. You should be grateful for it. The farmer replied, Yes, God has blessed me with a beautiful farm, and I am grateful for it. But you should have been in this farm when God had the whole farm to himself. Most crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot, but that strategy rarely brings success. The common man seeks security, whereas the common man seeks opportunity. Why does one person move forward with one success after another, while others are still getting ready? Why does one man go through life crossing one hurdle after another, accomplishing his goal, while another struggle and gets nowhere? If the answer to these two questions become part of the way you learn, it would revolutionize your life. What is success? If you really want to succeed from the habit of doing things that failure don't like to do, a lot of research has been done on the subject of success and failure. The secret of success can be learned from the life histories of successful people. Successful people have certain qualities in common no matter which period of history they lived in, and no matter what their fields of endeavor. Success leaves clues. If we identify and adopt the qualities of successful people, we too shall be successful. Similarly, there are characteristics common to people who are not successful. If we avoid those characteristics, then the result of consistently applying some basic principles, the reverse is just as true. Failure is simply a result of making a few mistakes repeatedly. This might sound too simplistic, but the fact is that most truths are very simple. I'm not saying they are easy, but they are simple. To laugh often and love much, to win the respect of intelligent persons and the affection of children, to earn the approval of honest critics, and endure that betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to give of oneself without the slightest thought of return, to have accomplished a task, whether a healthy child, a rescue soul, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to have played and loved with enthusiasm and sung with exhalation, to know what even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeed. How do we define success? What makes a person successful? How do we recognize success? To some people, success might mean wealth. To others, it is recognition, good health, a good family, happiness, satisfaction, and peace of mind. What it really tells us is that success is subjective. Success means different things to different people. The definition that I feel best summarizes success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Let's look at these definitions carefully. Progressive. Progressive means that success is a journey, not a destination. We never arrive. After we reach one goal, we go on to the next and the next and so on. Realization means it is an experience. Outside forces cannot make me feel successful. I have to feel it within myself. It is internal, not external. That is why what often appears as success externally may be total hollowness within. Worthiness. Worthiness refers to our value system without which goal can be unworthy. Which way are we heading? Towards positive or negative goals? Worthiness determines the quality of the journey, that is what gives meaning and fulfillment. Goals are important because they give us a sense of direction. Success without fulfillment is empty. I don't know the key to success, but the key to failure is trying to please everybody. Success does not mean being liked and accepted by everyone. There are some groups I would not, out of choice, want to be accepted by. I would rather be criticized by fools than I appreciated by unsavory characters. I see success as a manifestation of good luck that results from inspiration, aspiration, desperation, and perspiration, generally in that sequence. Success and happiness go hand in hand. Success is getting what you want, and happiness is wanting what you get. Existence alone is not success, it is a lot more. Do more than exist life. Do more than touch, feel. Do more than look, observe. Do more than read, observe. Do more than hear, listen. Do more than listen, understand. Some obstacle to success, real or imagined. Ego, fear of failure, success, lack of self esteem, no plan, lack of formalized goals, life changes, procrastination. Family responsibilities, financial security issues, lack of focus, being muddled, giving up vision for promise of money, doing too much alone, overcommitment, lack of training, lack of persistence, lack of priorities. The winning age. In order to get the winning age, we need to strive for excellence, not perfection. Striving for perfection is neurotic. Striving for excellence is progress because there is nothing that can't be done better or improved. All that we need is a little age. The winning horse in the race may win with 5 or 10 odds. Do you think he's 5 or 10 times faster than the other horses? Of course not. He may only be faster by a fraction, by a nose, but that reward are 5 or 10 times greater. It is fair. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Those are the rules of the game. That is the way the game is played. The same is true in our lives. Successful people are not 10 times smarter than the people who fail. They may be fractionally better, but the rewards are 10 times bigger. We don't need to improve 1000% in any one area. All you need is to improve 1% in 1000 different areas. which is a lot easier. That is the winning age. Struggle. History demonstrated that the most notable winners usually encountered a heartbreaking obstacles before they triumphed. They won because they refused to become discouraged by their defeats. Trial life can be tried or triumphs depending on how we handle them. Triumphs don't come without effort. A biology teacher was teaching his student how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. He told the student that in the next couple of hours, the butterfly would struggle to come out of the cocoon. But no one should have the butterfly. Then he left. The students were waiting and it happened. The butterfly struggled to get out of the cocoon. And against the advice of the teacher, one of the students took pity on it and decided to help the butterfly out of the cocoon. He broke the cocoon to help the butterfly, so it didn't have to struggle anymore. But shortly afterwards, the butterfly died. When the teacher returned, he was told what had happened. He explained to the student that it is a law of nature that the struggle to come out of the cocoon actually helps develop and straighten the butterfly wings. By helping the butterfly, the boy had deprived the butterfly of its struggle and the butterfly died. Apply the same principle to our lives. Nothing worthwhile in life comes without a struggle. As parents, we tend to hurt the ones we love most because we don't allow them to struggle to gain strength. Overcoming obstacles. People who have overcome obstacles are more secure than those who have never faced them. We all have problems and sometimes feel discouraged. Everyone faces disappointments, but winners don't get disheartened. The answer is perseverance. An English proverb said, a smooth sea never met a skillful marrier. Everything is difficult before it becomes easy. We cannot run away from our problems, only losers quit and give up. Most people give up just when they are about to achieve success. They quit on the 1 yard line. They give up at the last minute of the game, 1 foot from a winning touchdown. How do we measure success? True success is measured by the feeling of knowledge we have done our job well and have achieved our objective. Success is not measured by our position in life, but the obstacle we overcame to get there. Success in life is not determined by how we are doing compared with others, but by how we are doing compared with what we are capable of doing. Successful people compete against themselves. They better their own record and keep improving constantly. Success is not measured by how high we go up in life, but rather by how many times we bounce back down, we fall down. It is this bounce back ability that determines success. Every success story is also a story of great failure. Failure is the highway to success. Torn Western, as of IBM said, if you want to succeed, double your failure rate. If we study history, we will find that all stories of success are also stories of great failures. But people don't see the failures, they only see the end result and they think that person got lucky. He must have been at the right place at the right time. Let me share a famous life history with you. This was a man who failed in business at the age of 21, was defeated in a legislative race at age 22, failed again in business at the age of 24, had this sweetheart die when he was age 26, had a nervous breakdown at age 27, lost a congressional race at 34, lost a senatorial race at age 45, failed in an effort to become vice president at age 47, lost a senatorial race at age 49, and was elected president of the United States at age 52. This man was Abraham Lincoln. Would you call Lincoln a failure? He would have quit, hung his head in shame, and gone back to his law practice. But to Lincoln, defeat was a detour, not a dead end. In 1913, Lady Forrest, inventor of a trade tube, was tried by the district attorney for using fraudulent means to mislead the public into buying stock in his company by claiming that he could transmit the human voice across the Atlantic. He was publicly humiliated. Can you imagine where we would be without his invention? A New York Times editor on December 10, 1903 questioned the wisdom of the Wright brothers who were trying to invent a machine heavier than air that would fly. 1 week later, a Kitty Hawk, the Wright brothers took their famous flight. Colonel Sanders, age 65, had a set of a beat up car and $100 check from Social Security. He realized he had to do something to improve his position. He remembered his mother's fried chicken recipe and went out sailing. How many doors did he have to knock on before he got his first order? It is estimated that he had knocked on more than $1,000 before he got his first order. How many of us quit after 3 tries, 10 tries, 100 tries, and then we say we tried as hard as we could? As a young cartoonist, Walt Disney faced many rejections from newspaper editors who said he had no talent. One day, a minister at a church hired him to draw some cartoons. Disney was working out of a small rodent infested shed near the church. Seeing a small mouse inspired him to draw a new cartoon. That was the start of Mickey Mouse. Successful people don't do great things. They only do small things in a great way. This is very big line in this book. One day, a partially deaf 4-year-old child came home with a note in his pocket from his teacher. Your Tommy is too stupid to learn. Get him out of the school. His mother read the note and answered, my Tommy is not too stupid to learn. I will teach him myself. And that Tommy grew up to be a great Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison had only 3 months of formal schooling. Henry Ford forgot to put the reverse gear in the first car he met. Do you consider these people failure? They succeed in spite problems, not in the absence to them. But to negative thinkers, it appears as tough. They just got lucky. All success stories are stories of great failure. The only difference is that every time they failed, they bounded back. This is called failing forward rather than backward. You learn and move forward, learn from your failure, and keep going. In 1914, Thomas Edison, at age 67, lost his factory to fire. It had very little insurance. No longer a young man, Edison watched his lifetime effort go up in smoke and said, there is great value in disaster. All our mistakes are burnt up. Thank God we can start anew. In spite of disaster, 3 weeks later, he invented a picnograph. What an attitude! Blow the more example of the failure of successful people. Thomas Edison failed approximately 10,000 times while he was working on the light bulb. Henry Ford was broke at the age of 40. Lee Iacocca was fired by Henry Ford II at the age of 54. Young Beethoven was told that he had no talent for music, but he gave some of the best music to the world. Setbacks are inevitable. A setback can act as a driving force and also teach us humility. In grief, you will find courage and faith to overcome the setback. Learn to become victors, not victims. Fear and doubt short circuit in the mind. Ask yourself, after every setback, what did I learn from this experience? Only then will you be able to turn a stumbling block into a stepping stone. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win but think you can't, it's almost akin you want. If you think you'll lose, you are lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You have got to think high to rise. You have got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battle don't always go to the strongest and faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. The greatest gift of all the creatures in the world, humans are physically the most ill equipped. A human cannot fly like a bird, outrun a leopard, swim like an alligator, nor climb trees like a monkey. A human doesn't have the eye of an eagle, nor the claws and teeth of a wild cat. Physically, humans are helpless and defenseless. A tiny insect can kill them, but nature is reasonable and kind. Nature's greatest gift to humankind is the ability to think. Humans can create their own environment, whereas animals adapt to their environment. Sadly, very few people use the greatest gift, the ability to think, to its full potential. Failures are two kinds: those who did and never thought, and those who thought and never did. Going through life without using your ability to think is like shooting without aiming. Life is like a cafeteria. You take your tray, select your food, and pay at the other end. You can get anything you want as long as you are willing to pay the price. In a cafeteria, if you wait for people to serve you, you will wait forever. Life is like that too. You make choices and pay the price of succeed. Life is full of choices and compromises. Destiny is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for, it is a thing to be achieved. How is life full of choices? When we eat too much, we make a choice to be overweight. When we drink too much, we make a choice to have a headache the next day. If we drink and drive, we choose to risk being killed or killing someone in an accident. When we ill treat people, we choose to be ill treated in return. When we don't care about other people, we choose not to be cared for by other people. Choices have consequences. We are free to make our choices, but after we have chosen, the choices control us. We have equal opportunity to be unequal. The choice is ours. Life can be compared to a pottery maker who shapes clay in any form he wants. Similarly, we can mold our life into any shape we want. How is life full of compromises? Life is not just a party and pleasure, it is also a pain and despair. Unthinkable things happen. Sometimes everything turns upside down. Bad thing happens to good people. Some things are beyond control, such as physical disability and birth defects. We cannot choose our parent of the circumstances. If the ball bounded the wrong way for you, I'm sorry. But what do you do for that point on? Cry or take the ball and run? That is a choice you have to make. On a clear day, there are hundreds of boats sailing in all different directions in a lake. Even tough, the wind is blowing in one direction. The sailboats are going on different directions. Why? It depends on the way the sail is set, and that is determined by the sailor. The same is true of our lives. We can't choose the direction of the wind, but we can choose how we set our sail. Health, happiness, and success depend upon the fighting spirit of each person. The big thing is what happens to us in life, but what we do about what happened to us. We can choose our attitude, even tough, we cannot always choose our circumstances. The choice of either to act like a victor or victim. It is not our position but our disposition that determines our destiny. It takes both rain and sunshine to create a rainbow. Our lives are not different. There is happiness and sorrow. There is the good and the bad, dark spots and bright spots. When we can handle adversity well, it only strengthens us. We cannot control all the events that happen in our lives, but we can control how we deal with them. Richard wanted to promote Indian tea at the St. Louis World Fair. It was very hot and no one wanted to sample his tea. Ballantine saw that ice drinks were doing a flourishing business. It dawned on him to make his tea into an ice drink, mix in some sugar, and offer it for sale. People loved it. That was the introduction of iced tea to the world. Human beings are not like an acorn which has no choice. An acorn cannot decide whether to become a jam tree or to become food for the squirrels. Human beings have choices. If nature gave us a lemon, we have a choice either to cry or make lemonade. When things go wrong, at the same time, will you can react responsibility or resentfully. The choice is yours. Qualities that make a person successful. Number one, desire. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. Napoleon Hill wrote, whatever the mind of can conceive and believe the mind can achieve. A young man asked Socrates the secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river. The next morning they met. Socrates asked the young man to walk with him towards the river. When the water got up to their necks, Socrates took the young man by surprise and dunked him under the water. The boy struggled to get out of, but Socrates was strong and held him down. When the boy started turning blue, Socrates realized that boy's head out of the water. The first thing that the young man did was to gasp and take a deep breath of air. Socrates asked, what did you want the most when you were underwater? The boy replied, air. Socrates said, that is the secret to success. When you want success as intensely as you wanted air underwater, then you will have it. There is no other secret. A burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results. Number 2, commitment. Try not to become a success, but rather try to become a man of value. This is said by Albert Einstein. Integrity and wisdom are the two pillars on which to build and keep commitments. This point is the best illustrated by the manager who told one of his staff members, integrity is keeping your mind commitment, even if you lose money, and wisdom is not to make such foolish commitments. Prosperity and success are the result of our thoughts and decisions. It is for us to decide what thoughts will dominate our lives. Success is not an accident. It is the result of our attitude. Playing to win requires commitment. There is a big difference between playing to win and playing not to lose. When we play to win, we play with enthusiasm and commitment. Whereas when we play not to lose, we are playing from the position of weakness. When we play not to lose, we are playing to avoid failure. We all want to win, but very few are prepared to pay the price to prepare to win. Winners condition and commitment themselves to winning. Playing to win comes out of inspiration, whereas playing not to lose comes out of desperation. There are no ideal contentment. There never will be. To reach my destination, you can neither drift nor and sometime against it, but sail you must. Ask any curve, ask any coach or athlete to define the difference between the best and the worst team. This will be ability. The biggest difference is an emotional difference. The winning team has a dedication and they make the extra effort. They have a strong desire to win. To a winner, the tougher the competition, the greater than incentive, the stronger the motivation, the better the performance, the sweeter the victory. New challenges develop new potential. Most athletes' best performance have come when the odds were slightly against them. That is when they dig deeper into their emotional reservoirs. When I just get tired and want to stop, I did wonder what my next opponent was doing. When I could see him still working, I did start to pushing myself. When I could see him in the shower, I'd push myself harder. Success is not in the achievement, but in the achievement. Some people never try because they are afraid to lose. At the same time, they don't want to stay where they are because they are afraid to be left behind. There is a risk either way. Either way. Ships that go out into the open water face risks from a storm, but if they sit in the harbor, they would rust anyway, and that is not what they were built for. The difference between playing to win and playing not to lose is that you cannot be committed and not to take risks. People who play to win thrive on a pressure, and those who play not to lose don't know how to succeed. Pressure makes people who play to win prepare harder. For those who play not to lose, the pressure saps their energy. They want to win, but they are so afraid of losing that they can't reach their full potential. They lose energy worrying about losing instead of concentrating their efforts on winning. Losers want security, winners seek opportunity. Losers are more afraid of life than death. Failing is not a crime, but lack of effort is. The quality of person's life in direction proportion to other commitment to excellence regardless of their chosen field of endeavor. Conviction leads to commitment. There is a difference between preferences and conviction. Preferences are negotiable, convictions are not. Preferences give way to under pressure, convictions become stronger. That is why it is important to have a good value system so that our convictions are worthy because convictions in turn lead to commitment. Responsibility. A duty which becomes a desire will ultimately become a delight. People with character accept responsibilities, they make decisions, and determine their own destiny in life. Accepting responsibilities involves taking risks and being accountable, which is something uncomfortable. Most people would rather stay in their comfort zones and live in passive life without accepting responsibilities. They drift through life waiting for things to happen rather than making them happen. Accepting responsibilities involves taking calculated, not foolish. Risk it means evaluating all the pros and cons, then taking the most appropriate decision or action. Responsible people don't think that the world owns them a living. You cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot enrich the poor by impoverishing the rich. You cannot establish sound security on borrowed money. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot build the character and courage by taking away man's intuitive and independence. You cannot further the brotherhood of men by inculcating class hatred. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. If you are climbing an IQ mountain or fighting a war, A mistake may kill you. However, for most of us, our reactions to make mistake we make more important than the mistake themselves. Responsible people accept and learn from their mistakes. Some people never learn. We can do three things about mistake: ignore them, deny them, accept, learn from them, and not repeat them. The third alternative takes courage. It is risky but rewarding if insisted. We defend our weakness. We actually start building our lives around them, making them a center point rather than overcoming them. When things go wrong, negative people play the blame game. The retiring president of a company, after starting farewell, gave two envelopes marked number 1 and number 2 to the incoming president and said, whenever you run into the management you cannot handle by yourself, open envelope number 1. At the end, next crisis opened the second one. A few years later, a major crisis came. The president went into the safe and pulled out the first envelope. It said, blame it on your predecessor. A few years later, a second crisis came. The president went for the second envelope and it said, prepare 2 envelopes for your successor. Number 4. Hard work. Luck. I don't know anything about luck. I have never banked on it. And I'm afraid of people who do luck. To me is something else. Hard work and realizing what's opportunity and what isn't. Success is not something that you run into by accident. It takes a lot of preparation and character. Everyone likes to win, but most people are not willing to put in the effort and the time to prepare to win. It takes sacrifice and self-discipline. There is no substitute for hard work. Henry Ford said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. The world is full of willing workers, some willing to work and the other willing to let them. I like to work all day. I don't care if it is the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours. Just as a person cannot learn to spell by sitting on a dictionary or cannot develop capacity to do anything without hard work. Professionals make things to look easy because they have mastered the fundamentals of whatever they do. If people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it wouldn't seem wonderful at all. The average person puts only 25% of his energy and ability into his work. The world takes off its hat to those who put in more than 50% of their capacity and stand in his head for those few and far between souls who develop 100%. Successful people ask how much work, not how little work. They ask how many hours, not how few. The best musicians practice every day, often for hours. Winners don't need to apologize for winning because they work long and hard. Everything that we enjoy is a result of someone's hard work. Someone's work is visible while others go unseen. But ultimately, both are equally important. So take pride in your work and whenever there is a chance, show appreciation for the hard work of others by treating their work with care and respect. Work hard and well, and you will have the satisfaction of seeing your subject completed. Sometimes others may show appreciation, but that's a bonus. For the major satisfaction comes from within. Some people stop working as soon as they find a job, regardless of an unemployment statistics. It is hard to find good people to work. Many people don't understand what difference between ideal time and leisure time. Idle time amounts to wasting or stealing time. Leisure time is earned enjoying leisure time, leaves us energized and refreshed. Idle time saps our energy. Procrastinating is ideal time. Excellence is not luck. It is the result of a lot of hard work and practice. Hard work and practice make a person better at whatever he is doing. Far and away, the best prize of life offers a chance to work hard at something worth doing. Hard work is both a beginning and end itself. The harder a person works, the better he feels. And the better he feels, the harder he works. The bad ideas will not work unless you work the ideas. Great talent without willpower and hard work is a waste. We need to learn from nature. The duck keeps pacing relentlessly underneath but appears smooth and calm on the top. Once when the great violinist Fritz Gallicer finished a concert, someone came up to the stage and said, I'd like give my life to play the way you do. Kessler replied, I did. There is no magic wand for success. In the real world, success comes to doers, not observers. A horse that pulls cannot kick. A horse that kicks cannot pull. Let's pull and stop kicking. Without hard work, there is no success. Nature gives birds their food but does not put in their nest. They have to work hard for it. Nothing comes easily. Milton rose every morning at 4 a.m. to write Paradise Lost. It took Noah Webster 36 years to compile Webster's dictionary. Even small accomplishments require hard work. The smallest of accomplishments is better than the biggest talk. Number 5. Character. Character is the sum total of a person's values, beliefs, and personality. It is reflected in our behavior and in our actions. It needs to be preserved more than the riches dwell in the world. To be winner takes character, George Washington said. I hope I shall always possess firmness and worth enough to maintain what I consider the most valuable of all titles, the character of an honest man. It is not the polls or public opinion, but the character of the leader that determines the course of history. There is no twilight zone in integrity. The road to success has many pitfalls. It takes a lot of character and efforts not to fall into them. It also takes character not to be disheartened by critics. Why do most people love success but hate successful people? Whenever a person rises above the average, plenty of people are ready to pull him down. Chances are pretty good when you see a person on the top of a hill that he just didn't get there default but had to endure a tough climb. It's not different in life. In any profession, a successful person will be invited by those who are not successful. Critics have always been sitting at the sidelines. They are underachievers who shout at doers, telling them how to do it right. But remember, critics, you are not the leader of yours. Don't let criticism distract you from reaching your goal. Average people play it safe to avoid criticism. By saving, doing, or being nothing, they could avoid criticism and guarantee that they remain average. The more you accomplish, the more you risk being criticized. The critic is one who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. No one likes to be criticized, but will learn and grow from honest criticism. Just as it takes character not to be disheartened by critics, it also takes character to listen to critics. It is very important to be able to distinguish honest criticism from jealousy inspired criticism. This is a skill that successful people have. Part of the skill is being able to evaluate the motive of the criticizer. The other part, and perhaps the largest part, is self knowledge. The successful person knows himself well enough to recognize when a particular criticism is valid. Successful people don't like to be criticized any more than anyone else does. But when they deem is criticism valid, they remain calm and control and listen carefully. They ask for suggestions on how to improve. In fact, successful people often ask for criticism from the host whose opinions they trust. They ask, how am I doing? How can I improve? Character is a combination. Character is a combination of integrity, unselfishness, understanding, conviction, courage, loyalty, and respect. What is a pleasant personality with character? It is in a class by itself. It is composure. It is poise. It is sure footedness and confidence without arrogance. It is being considerate. It is never making excuses. It is knowing that courtesy and good manners take many small sacrifices. It is learning from past mistakes. It has nothing to do with money or blue blood. It never builds itself by destroying others. It is substance, not just form. It is being able to work with the elite and yet maintain the common touch. It is a gentle word, a kind look, and a good natured smile. It is the secret pride that stands against tyranny. It's being comfortable with oneself and others. It is having the classic tough that gives the winning edge. It works wonders, it accomplishes miracles. It is easy to recognize, hard to define. It is accepting responsibility. It is humility. It is graciousness in victory and defeat. It is not fame and fortune. It is not a plaque. It is not a parliament. It is not an intangible. It is being courteous and polite without being so subservient. It is being classy without being cocky. It is self-discipline and knowledge. It is self-contained. It is a gracious winner and understanding loser. Something in human nature causes us to start flaking off at our moment of greatest accomplishment. As you become successful, you will need a great deal of self discipline not to lose your sense of balance, humility, and commitment. More difficult than success itself is how we handle success. Many people know how to become successful, but after they become successful, they don't know how to handle it. That is why ability and character go hand in hand. Ability will get you success, character will get you successful. We don't unfold or discover ourselves. We create and build ourselves into the kind of person we want to be. Character building starts from infancy and goes on until that. Character does not need success. It is success. Just like a gardener has to keep weeding to prevent weeds from eating the life of the garden. We need to keep building and developing our character by weeding out of our faults. Under advanced cursetments, some people break record and others break down. John F. Kennedy once said that is the mark of character how well a person are going well for us. It is easy to be logical, kind, and gracious. But when things are not going well, and we are in snap at others around them, while others remain clear-headed, and continue to treat others with respect. Adversity reveals a person's character. There is a Russian saying, a hammer shatters glass, but forgets steel. There is a lot of truth in the saying. Are we made of glass or steel? It's the same hammer. Just as carbon determines the quality of steel, character determines the quality of a man. Number 6. Positive believing. What is the difference between positive thinking and positive believing? What if you could actually listen to your thoughts? Are they positive or negative? Are you programming your mind for success or failure? The way in which you think has a profound effect on your performance. Having a positive attitude and being motivated is a choice we make every day. Living a positive life is not easy, but then neither is negative living. Given a choice, I would rather go for a positive living. Positive thinking helps you use your abilities to the fullest. Positive living is more than positive thinking. It is knowing that positive thinking will work. Positive believing is an attitude of confidence that comes from preparation. Having a positive attitude without making the effort is nothing more than having a wishful dream. The following illustrate positive believing. Several years ago, Lockheed introduced a L1011 Tristar plan. In order to ensure safety and test the strength of the jetliner, Lockheed exposed the plane to the roughest possible treatment for 18 months, a program that cost $1.5 billion. Had regular jacks, electron sensors, and a computer put the airplane to its paces for more than 36,000 simulated flights, equivalent to 100 years airline services, without one single manufacturer. Financially, after thousands of tests, the aircraft was given the seal of the approval. Does the Lockheed organization have reason to believe positively? You bet. There is every reason to believe that the plane is safe to fly. But because all the effort put into preparation. Having a positive attitude without making the effort is nothing more than having a wishful dream. The following illustrate positive believing. Does the local organization have reason to believe positively? You bet. There is every reason to be believed this plane safe to fly because of all the effort put into preparation. Number 7. Give more than you get. It is easy to succeed today. If you want to get ahead in life, go the extra mile. There is no competition on the extra mile. Are you willing to do a while more than you get paid for? How many people you know are willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for? Hardly any. Most people don't want to do what they get paid for, and a second category of people want only to do what they can get by with. They fulfill their quotas just to keep their jobs. Only a small fraction is willing to do a little bit more than what they get paid for. How do they do more? The advantages of doing more than you get paid for are: you make yourself more valuable regardless of what you do and where you work. It gives you more confidence. People start looking at you as a leader. Others started trusting you. Superiors starting respecting you. It breeds loyalty from both your subordinates and your superiors. It generates cooperation. It produces pride and satisfaction. If you go the extra mile, what is the competition? If you work for a man, for heaven's sake, work with him. Hardworking people are in demand everywhere, regardless of age, experience, or academic qualifications. Hardworking people can work without supervision, are punctual and considerate, listen carefully, and carry out instruction accurately, tell the truth, don't sulk when called upon to pitch in at the time of an emergency, are result oriented rather than task oriented, are cheerful and courteous, always think in terms of giving more than is expected by your customers, friends, spouse parents, and children. Whenever you do anything, ask yourself, how can I add value to what I'm doing? Or how can I give added value to others? The key to success can be summed up in 4 words and then some more. Winners do what they are supposed to, and then some more. Winners do their duty, and then some more. Winners are courteous and generous, and then some more. Winners can be counted on, and then some more. Winners put in 100% and then some more. Ability without dependability, responsibility, and flexibility is a liability. Why are some highly intelligent people often with impressive academic qualifications leaving failures or at best practicing mediocrity? Because they become expert at why things won't work and build a reserve of negative energy. They don't want to do what they get paid for, or they only want to do what they can get by with. No wonder they are living failures. When we give or do more than what we get paid for, we eliminate our competition. In fact, we become the competition. This attitude is much more important than intelligence or a degree. Number 8. The power of Persistence. Nothing will be take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated dialectics. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The journey to being your best is not easy, it is full of setbacks. Winners have the ability to overcome and bounce back with even great resolve. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you are trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is a queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a failure turns about, when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems so far. So stick to the fight when you are hardest hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. Fritz Kaiser, the great violinist, was once asked, "How do you play so well? Are you lucky?" He replied, "It is practice. If I don't practice for a month, the audience can tell practice for a month. The audience can tell the difference. If I don't practice for a week, my wife can tell the difference. If I don't practice for a day, I can tell the difference." Persistent result for commitment and leads to determination. There is pleasure it enthusiast athletes put in years of practice for a few seconds or minute of performance. Persistence is a decision, it is a commitment to finish what you start. When we are exhausted, quitting looks good, but winners endure. As a winning athlete, he endured the pain and finishes what he started. Lots of people who are failure began well but never finished anything. Persistence comes from purpose. Life without purpose is drifting. A person who has no purpose will never persevere and will never be fulfilled. Number 9. Pride of performance. In today's world, pride in performance has fallen by the wayside because it requires effort and hard work. However, nothing happens unless it is made to happen. When one is discouraged, it is easy to look for shortcuts. However, these should be avoided no matter how great the temptation. Pride comes from within, it is what gives the winning edge. Pride of performance does not represent ego, it represents pleasure with humility. The quality of the work and the quality of the worker are inseparable. Half-hearted effort does not produce half result. It produces no results. Three people were laying bricks. A passerby asked them what they were doing. The first one replied, "Don't you see, I'm making a living." The second one said, "Don't you see, I'm laying bricks." The third one said, "I'm building a beautiful monument." Here were three people doing the same thing who had totally different perspectives on what they were doing. They had three very different attitudes about their work. And would their attitude affect their performance? The answer is clearly yes. Excellence comes when the performer takes pride in doing his best. Every job is self portrait of the person who does it, regardless of what the job is. Whether washing cars, sweeping a floor, or painting a house, do it right the first time, every time. The best insurance for tomorrow is a job well done today. Michelangelo had been working on a statue for many days. He was taking a long time to retouch every small detail. A bystander thought these improvements were insignificant, and asked Michelangelo why he bothered with them. Michelangelo replied, "Trifles make perfection, and perfection is no trifle." Most people forget how fast you did a job, but they remember how well it was done. If a man is called be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets well that all the hosts of heaven and the earth will pause to say, "Here live a great street sweeper who did this job well." The feeling of a job well done is a reward in itself. It is better to do small things well than do my things poorly. Number 10. Be willing to be a student, get a mentor. If God and the teacher are standing together, who does the student salute first? According to Indian culture, the answer is the teacher. Because without his direction and help, the student could not have met God. Mentor or teacher is a person whose insight can become your foresight. Look for someone who can mentor you. Choose your mentor carefully. A good mentor will guide you, give direction, whereas a bad mentor will misguide. Show respect, be an interested student. An interested student gets the best out of a teacher. The best teacher will not give you something to drink. They will make you thirsty. They will put you on the path to seek answer. Do you have what it takes to be successful? Do all of us have the qualities for success? Some people feel they don't. They stay mediocre and fail. But it doesn't have to be that way. All of us possess each of the 10 qualities discussed in this chapter. The qualities may not be developed to the level that you want them to be, but they are there. We not know that they are there, but when we found out, our performance will change. There is like having $1 million buried in your backyard and not knowing about it. You wouldn't be able to use it. The moment you find out, your thinking and behavior will change. We all have hidden treasures. All we need to do is bring them to the surface and use them. Action plan. Success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving, they make mistakes, but they don't quit. To achieve success, you must have worthwhile goal. Write down your own most important goals.